I see what ho, chaps and chapettes, Game Chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows, and I do see now we are discussing here the most recent community tier list for Super Smash Bros. On Wii U. I dare say, of course, this is always a very popular subject because people want to know how their favourite character is getting on in the eyes of the Smash Bros. Community.
Most certainly, and we find it very interesting reporting on these tier lists and how they've changed, etc. And I'm sure all you fans out there will love to hear what's going on here.
Well, indeed. Now, of course, as always, when we're talking about tier list videos, bear in mind we are currently at a very early stage of the game. All this is presently up for debate and very much in motion. We are just reporting on the latest standings as they are at this point in time. And, of course, we may see a lot more evolving and changes to the metagame as time progresses and people become more and more experienced with Super Smash Bros.
Well, yes, indeed, we may indeed see that. But of course, at the moment, as we stand, this is what the community think based on what they've been playing and what they've been doing.
Precisely, yes, indeed.
Certainly.
Now, I think, Ilba, we should start off here at the bottom and say, firstly, which characters are considered the worst in Super Smash Bros.
Well, most certainly, yes, we should start there. So right down there at the bottom, right just down there, right at the bottom in the 40s.
We'll call these, charitably, the low-tier heroes.
The low-tier heroes, yes. Now, perhaps you play them and think, well, I do quite well with them. Well, you'll just have to post what you think.
Now, who's at the bottom of this barrel, old chap?
Well, the bottom of the barrel, almost underneath the barrel, as it were, is quite appropriately, believe it or not, Donkey Kong himself.
No, not Donkey Kong, surely.
Well, yeah, they're putting Donkey Kong down there and just propping him up is Olimar and Charizard down there.
Charizard, I think.
Yes.
So, of course, yes, indeed, the bottom three there, for it was DK, Olimar, and Charizard. Now, I do think Olimar does belong down there, unfortunately.
Right.
You see, his Pikmin-based attacks are rather too technical, a bit tough to carry out, short range on them sometimes. The Pikmin have bad tracking on Olimar. It has been noted he's not generally a very powerful character on kill moves either.
No, indeed.
Rather tricky and technical and tough to learn. Certainly, though, if a good Olimar does emerge and starts showing people how to dominate with him, he may see a rise in ranking later on. And also, of course, invisibly, I should also say this, the chaps that make Super Smash Bros. Could at any time release a patch, which may well change some of the situation we're seeing here.
Well, that's possible, yes.
Again,
indeed.
though, yes, Donkey Kong right at the bottom there. It seems the chap just doesn't have it this time. He never was very good in Brawl, and unfortunately, this game hasn't been kind to him either.
No, indeed. Now, what I find rather interesting and strange that he should be in the 40s is Ganondorf with such power. Could it be that it's because he's slower?
Well, indeed, we have Ganondorf in at number 44. His brothers and sisters, meanwhile, are King Dedede at number 43 and the Wii Fit Trainer at number 45. Now, Ganon the Manon, of course, packs an awful lot of power.
Yes.
He's very, very strong.
does.
The only snag being he's very slow and he lacks a projectile. This makes him very hard to use on the flat stage of the 4 Glory mode and means that spammers and campers can basically have a field day with him. You really have to know how to use him.
Yes, most certainly. Now, a rather tricky character, Mr. Game & Watch, for example. Well, I thought he'd be higher up, but he's not. He's at the higher 30s. You know, he's in 39, I think, or something
39,
like that.
that's right. He, of course, was nerfed from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Various of his attack moves have, of course, been reduced in power, but he still possesses that ever-dangerous number 9 Judgment Hammer, a random attack, so he does have that in his favour. Also, we have another chap here who has had a massive fall from grace since the start of the Super Smash Bros. 4 game, and that is Bowser in at number 42. Now, what on earth's he doing down there?
Well, Bowser's taken a huge hit.
That's right, he was top 10 before.
Was he really?
Yes.
My goodness me, he's taken an almighty degrading. Now, we don't know why at the moment. Now, could this perhaps be to do something with the updates
I think so.
they brought out, which we mentioned in a previous video, little tweaks and little fiddlings that they've done
Yes.
to the game.
Well, certainly Bowser did lose his Bowser side move. Ganondorf, of course, still has Ganon side, but he's still rated lower than Bowser in any case. But Bowser there, yes, he lost his Bowser side, meaning if you try to self-destruct with someone in your grasp on the last stock of 4 Glory, you'll actually lose the match if playing as Bowser, but not with Ganondorf. So perhaps that's contributed towards his fall, but I don't think the removal of Bowser's side alone is enough to put him in number 42, old chap.
Well, no, it seems to be very strange that he's down there. It could, or must, should I say, be perhaps because of what you said, he's got that particular move.
Yes.
But that has to be something to do with it.
Nerfs,
but
I think.
otherwise, could be, yes, it could be the little nerfs they've brought in with these little updates that's they just added. So
that's right.
It could
that's
be
right.
that.
Now, in at number 40 and 41, we see a couple of characters here. We see Wario in at spot 40, and of course Zelda at 41. Now, this is interesting. Zelda, I think, has always been fairly low tier in Super Smash Bros., so no doubt her fans were disappointed, but that's not too surprising to see her down there. But Wario has a very strong and powerful attack in the form of his rapid respawning bike, which some Warios online use all the time, over and over again, constantly biking, which makes them something of a threat, if you ask me.
Well, Well, yes, indeed, but obviously it's not enough for the players that are using Wario are obviously not using him very well, or just can't get on with him or whatever.
Yes.
But nevertheless, he's down there.
So who else do we have here,
Well,
chap?
you see, now moving into the 30s there, we've got such characters as at the higher 30s or in lower, whichever way you want around to look at it. We've got Kirby and Pac-Man there, right at the top tier, or 38, 39s.
38 and 37, actually.
38, 37s.
At
yes,
the lowest
indeed.
part of the 30s, I think you mean. Yes, we have Kirby and Pac-Man. Now, of course, Pac-Man had a bit of a nerf recently, but he's not too bad as a character. He does have various tricky moves, but again, he lacks direct killing power. He has to rely on setting people up with his fire hydrant, with his side B, etc. and so forth. Kirby, meanwhile, has seen more nerfs, meaning to not only to his final cutter attack, which now has a shorter range, but also his inhale has been nerfed. It now has less priority, for example. So that's him. Then, indeed, above those two, at number 36, we see Meta Knight.
Meta Knight, yes, indeed.
Now, Meta Knight, of course, used to be the champ of Brawl, but he's no longer the champ here, you know.
No, it doesn't look like he is.
He's received many nerfs, making him much less of a threat now.
He has indeed, and of course, just above him there, Bowser Jr. has taken a bit of a hit as well.
Well.
He was somewhat higher up than this, as I remember last time.
I'm sure he was, yes.
Yes, he was. And of course, one that surprises me a bit as well is Dr. Mario. He's got some interesting moves, Dr. Mario, but still put right down there. Now, it could be that just players aren't used to him, or they can't get on with him, or perhaps not many are using him.
Well,
but it seems strange that he's down there in the 30s.
It's an interesting one. He's always been fairly low tier, Dr. Mario, in this game, as far as we can see. But indeed, I just don't know whether he's justified to be that much higher than Ganondorf. He's got that projectile, it's true. He has various useful attacks. He has the up B combo, up A combo he can perform. But then again, he does lack in the area of recovery. He's quite slow, much slower than regular Mario.
Yes.
And of course, there's a certain knack to Dr. Mario, I think.
Yes.
You have to know what you're doing with him. So perhaps that's the reason for it. Although his smash attacks are very powerful killing moves.
Most certainly is, and I still can't understand why Ganondorf is so low. It's an interesting point.
Well, he is.
So just moving up to the higher 30s there, or
Yes, that's right.
the 31s or 32s there, we've got Luigi in there, of course, and of course our old friend the Villager.
Right.
We did a little spotlight on the Villager, didn't we? Not too far back.
We did.
And he's in there at 33. So obviously they don't think much of his tree at 33.
Well, that's right. Village, of course, again, he's another tricky character to use, actually. He
Yes.
has very short range on his smashes, and his aerial game is very important. So, quite a tricky character to master there, but some people have had success with him.
Yes.
Just above him there is Luigi at 32, who's seen a bit of a boost with recent updates enabling him to perform more area attacks and rather more rapidly in the air.
Yes.
And above him again there is Falco, the poor chap in at 31.
Yes.
After his glorious showing in Brawl, he was hit with the nerf stick, it seems.
He was, it seems to be the case, and then right in there, just hanging between the 20s and the 30s there. I'm surprised to see this character here, and perhaps you chaps and chapettes out there are as well, and that is, of course, Samus. Now, I think Samus is quite a good character with some good attributes.
Actually, yes, Samus can be surprisingly deadly in the right hands. She's
Yes.
very tricky with those aerial combos, those grab chains, her missiles, her charge shots. She has a lot going for her, but it seems, yes, I think it once again comes down to her killing move, old chap. It's
Yes.
just not that strong.
Well, it could be that. And I just do need to just go back to Luigi just briefly there. Luigi has seen quite an increase over
Yes.
last time's tier. So he's come up quite a lot. He was a lot lower than that, I think.
He was, and of course the update has been kind to him, indeed, as I said
Yes,
there.
indeed.
Then we see Rob at number 29, and
Yes.
this one's interesting. We see Palutena at 28. Now, she was right at the bottom of the sack before, but
She
it
was.
seems indeed her faster tilts now make her a lot more viable, and actually we had quite some success using her a while ago online. It seems to me as if she's much more of a worthy contender now than she was before.
Well, she seems to have been, and we've been playing with Palutena ourselves recently, have we not? And she's quite a good character.
She's
we
not
think.
bad. She has some decent killing power in those smash attacks. Her tilts are much faster now, as I say. She has the auto reticle, which isn't too bad of a projectile. Just above her, then, is Jigglypuff with her nasty aerial combos and, of course, Rest.
Most certainly, yes, indeed. Just, I wanted to say this about Palutena as well. Palutena, keep an eye on that one because I think it could be coming up in recent months or in future months.
I think so, yes.
Yes, Jigglypuff, as you say. And then, of course, in at the mid-20s there, we have Mega Man.
Or Mega Man.
Mega Man. And, of course, Little Mac. Now, I thought Little Mac would be featuring far higher up when they first announced him back in the day before the game came out. I thought he'd be featuring a little bit better with the Super Punch, etc. But not. He seems to be sort of mid-range at the moment.
He's very mid-tier. I mean, he was high-tier. He was right up there, ranking very highly because of the sheer power he packed. But I think a lot of people have started to realise that he's not so tough after all if you know how to counter him. And a lot of the Super Smash Bros. Community have been doing just that. They've been learning how to counter him. So perhaps that's destroyed a lot of his usefulness, I think.
Yes, and not that good at recovering all either, Little Mac, isn't it?
No, of course not, yes. Then we've got Ike in at number 24. Ike's seen a healthy boost in recent times because, of course, his essential moves like his forward air have received considerable boosts in terms of speed and positive power too. Ike was always a strong character in Smash Bros. Brawl. I think they did nerf him quite a lot because he was so easy to get kills with that devastating forward smash, but it seems he's making something of a resurgence now.
Well, yes, it does indeed. Yes, I see. And once again, you're referring to the tweaks that they did there, Nintendo, the adjustments they did just a little while ago. And of course, this seems to have played havoc with every player's, characters, and hence the tier list as well.
Oh yes, I mean we're going to be seeing changes, no doubt, all over the place to this tier list, and I don't think we're ever going to see a final one.
Well, no, indeed. I'm just looking at that. The Pikachu has come up a lot since last time, and he's in at 21 now. That's quite 21. An increase.
I think yes, it's quite an increase.
Quite an increase.
He was certainly nerfed quite a lot back then, but perhaps I'm not entirely sure what the update did to him, but it seems indeed the fans are reckoning him as being somewhat more worthy than he was before. But one character I do know about, at number 23, she's fallen 13 spots since our last tier list analysis videos. It's Princess Peach.
Well, most certainly. Now, but, what has happened to Peach? Now, Peach,
I don't know. She was top 10 material, old chap.
Exactly. If you watched our last one, you'll have seen that Peach was in the top 10, I think.
Number 10.
Number 10, I think. But now, knocked and just smacked down to 23. What on earth have those updates done to Peach?
Well, indeed. I don't know. Maybe it's the ranges of her smash attacks. Maybe it's her turnips. Maybe it's... Oh, I know what it is. That's right. I remember now, chap.
Yes.
It's the turnip cancel. The turnip cancel was removed from the game, and perhaps a lot of fans think, well, this is no good, and perhaps they consider it to have really impacted and affected her usability, I think.
Well, it could be they've just ditched her or whatever.
Yes, indeed.
But those turnips have certainly turned sour, haven't they?
They've certainly turned sour, yes.
Okay, so looking now, just going up to the 20s and 21s here, we've got 21, we've got Pikachu. Mustn't forget Pit at 22.
Now that's interesting. We have Pit at 22, as you say, old chap, but then at number 20, we've got Dark Pit. Now these characters are more or less the same. Dark Pit perhaps packing a touch more power, so yes, I suppose it's about right, old chap.
I think it's about right. Yes, a little bit of variation there. Nothing special, but both very, very similarly tiered there. Most certainly.
Yes, then at number 19, it's the heroine from the future, Lucina. Now, it seems to me as if she is another character to have taken quite the tumble here, because last time, when we spoke of the tier list, she was at number 12, now she's fallen to 19.
Well, she has, yes. We don't know why. She's taken a little bit of a hit there. Once again, could be the changes, who knows. But I think still quite a good character.
I think she's
possibly
quite strong.
Worthy of a higher placing than that.
Perhaps, especially with her, basically her clone or twin Marth, in actually at number 12 as of this point. And perhaps a lot of people are saying, well, Marth's got the tipper attack, and so that makes him that much better than Lucina, and perhaps they're right there.
Yes, she's taken a little hit there since last time, and for sure. And of course, then we've got 17 and 18, Mario and Shulk.
Yes,
now,
that's
I thought,
right.
Perhaps Mario could be slightly higher tier, but he's not, but never mind.
I think that Mario's position, to be honest, is about right, old chap. Nintendo have taken pains to buff him and make him usable. He's got a very handy dash attack. A lot of his moves now have much more priority and power. And yes, he's quite a solid choice, I think. And certainly Shulk there, with his buffs and percentage damage increases in the last update, is worthy of that position also, I think.
Most certainly. Now, but if we look at number 15 here, I'm surprised at this one to be so high, to be honest with you, but you Duck Hunt.
Well, indeed, you'd think he was a joke character, but he's not. He's so dangerous with that clay pigeon shot he's got with the what's it called, the Hogan's Alley drum move he uses, the barrel attack. He has various range projectiles to really mess up your day.
He's got a lot of ranges. That might be it, because also I noticed he has hardly moved since last time. Not a great move, really.
No, he has quite a good fan base, I think. There quite a lot of people think he's a solid character, and what he does, of course, he plays with the projectiles and then runs in and finishes you off with a smash of some sort, off the hand, just like that.
No, certainly, yes, indeed.
So that was Duck Hunt, and number 16 just below him is Fox, who is a good choice in this game. Incredible speed, very, very fast, but yes, indeed, it doesn't quite seem the community thinks he's high-tier material, perhaps because his attacks are just a tad too weak, I think.
Well, it could be, yes, indeed. Now, just moving then to number 14, we see another character that's taken quite a notable hit to their rankings, and this is of course, Robin.
Robin from Fire Emblem, that's right. Last time he was, or she was at number 8, but now the tactician finds themselves at number 14. Now, of course, this will will undoubtedly be due to the patch update, which nerfed a lot of his smash attacks and various other moves he used to be able to use to kill people. I think he only had one buff, which was to his side smash. The other smashes all took a nasty hit in their power and knockback.
They most certainly did, and as we keep saying it, but these updates have played absolute havoc with the players.
They have.
The players' characters and their moves and style, etc.
That's right.
So we're just looking at number 13 here, and we've got a chap that's come quite a few places up, and that's Toon Link.
Indeed. Toon Link, of course, does find himself in very much a favourable position online with the 4 glorious flat stages. He can use his bow, his boomerang, his bombs and all sorts to play absolute havoc with the enemy, and he's generally a rather solid choice, always has been, but this time actually it's Link that's better than Toon Link, it seems.
Yes, very interesting, yes, as we'll get to shortly.
Yes.
But certainly 12 we have one that hasn't really moved a lot at all since last time, so fairly stable character there, and quite high tier. Number 12, Marth.
Marth has always been a high tier choice, yes, a very solid pick for Smash Brothers players. It seems this time, as I say, they've rated him a lot higher than Lucina, perhaps because he has access to the deadly tipper move, which his sister, as it were, Lucina, doesn't.
Yes, indeed, that could well be the case. Now, looking at number 11, nearly into the Big Ten now,
yes,
we've got Ness in at number 11.
A deserving spot indeed. Ness's attacks have good, high priority. He always has that devastating PK Thunder self-slam move he does, but he shoots off to the side there.
Yes.
Very dangerous. He has PK Fire, which is particularly useful for combining with a throw, which can also kill people. He's generally a rather dangerous character, and actually he does counter a lot of characters in this game, I think.
Well, yes, indeed, most certainly. I think that's something to be noted, and keep an eye on him. He may go up. Now, number 10. Who is at number 10?
Number 10.
Just hold on to your seats, because this character has taken a rather considerable and notable hit.
Yes.
From where they were last time, and that's Greninja.
Greninja. Now, why did Greninja take a hit? Well, I'll tell you why, fellows. Once again, it comes back to that nasty update wherein he saw a nerf to some of his powers. For example, he can no longer cancel his down aerial attack into a shadow sneak. Therefore, he incurs landing leg. He also had the removal of his Gimp powers with his up B special move,
yes,
thereby somewhat detracting from his usability. But of course, just because he's not completely broken in those areas anymore, as it were, doesn't mean he's not still a very viable contender, and that's why he's in the number 10 spot still. He has, of course, fallen 5 places, but still a strong character to choose, I think.
Yes, he is, but certainly going from the top 5 there, just hanging on just with his little fingernails there to number 10,
yes,
is quite a move for that, to be caused by the update.
Indeed.
Now, so looking on the reverse side of it, just flipping the coin of how the update can affect these figures, we have another character in at number 9 there who has come up a lot of paces, and that is Link.
This chap is a real shooting star, fellows. He's
yes,
seen around about 20 jumps in place since the last tier list, and
yes,
of course Link this time is well deserving of that spot. He has so much more power behind his attacks. He's got an excellent dash attack. His projectiles can mess with your head, especially on 4 Glory. Certainly this is not the Link we saw in Brawl. He's taken a massive buff.
He most certainly has, yes. Whatever they've done, they've wanted to bring Link up. I don't know, perhaps because the new game's coming out soon.
Yes.
But certainly they want him up there, and there he is at number 9. Now, number 8, we have Captain Falcon.
Captain Falcon.
Yes, indeed. So
always the fan favourite Captain Falcon. He has actually jumped 3 places since last time. The chaps are really respecting his moves of showing here, it seems. Captain Falcon, of course, has very, very impressive speed and good power behind his attacks. Once he gets a combo started, it's very hard to stop him.
Yes,
but of course,
yes,
the way to fight him is just to keep him on the back foot. If you can do that, you might get the advantage. He lacks a projectile, but it seems this captain is certainly a force to be reckoned with online in any case.
He most certainly is. Now, I'm just wondering why they never added the little Toad to all this lot.
A Toad?
Yes, I know. It just came to me recently because we've been playing through the Captain Toad treasure tracker over on our Chaps Play channel.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen that, please do go over there, subscribe. We're playing through that at the moment. Absolutely fun.
That's fun.
But I was just, because we just did one of these yesterday, I think, it made me think, I wonder why they didn't put Toad in
well,
there.
I mean, Peach has got Toad, hasn't she? So
well, I suppose so.
DLC perhaps, fellows.
DLC,
Who
perhaps
knows?
he's there for DLC.
Maybe.
But there we go. So, yes,
Moving
number
on then.
8,
Yes.
Captain Falcon. Now, who's in at 6 and 7?
Well,
at number 6 we have Sonic, and at number 7 Lucario.
That's right, of course. Now, Lucario hasn't moved a muscle since last time. He has stayed firm at number 7, and of course he has that deadly aura ability, whereby the more he takes damage, the more punishment he can dish out. So he's certainly always a threat, I think. Indeed, at number 6 then, Sonic has actually dropped a couple of places since last time, down to number 6 from number 4, perhaps again because people are working out his move style. It seems many Sonic mains will just attack with the same spin dash style approach over and over again, but of course once you work out the that you need to actually shield that, go for the grab, or perhaps interrupt his attack in other ways, it becomes less tough to fight him.
Well,
Then,
yes,
of course,
it could be there.
At number 5, we have, shall I call her the model, old boy? It's Zero Suit Samus, you know.
Yes, most certainly. Now, surprised to see Zero Suit Samus here, because previously Zero Suit was in the top 3.
She was the bronze placement, in fact, at number 3.
So she's taken quite a hit to be removed from that top 3 tier down to number 5. Now, I use Zero Suit quite a lot. I think it's quite a good character, Zero Suit Samus. But, of course, she is very difficult at times to recover from. She can be a bit awkward with recovery now and again.
Well, she can be. She has some very good assets, I think, old boy. I mean, of course, her blaster, you know, the stun gun. Of course, I mean that. And also, I dare say, I think she was indeed nerfed slightly in the update there. She had various changes made, but also some things that boosted her aerial capabilities. She's always been a very tricky character to learn. She has many advanced techniques, well worth looking into, and I don't think anyone could argue that she's definitely top 5 material here. Then, of course, in number 4, goodness me, the dinosaur's on a roll, if you'll pardon the pun. He's actually increased 2 places since the last tier list, and it's Yoshi, of course.
Most certainly, and he is indeed there at number 4, and I think you might think, well, it doesn't seem very far to move 2 places, but when you're in those sort of top 7s, 8s, and things like that, movements in that tier, they mean something.
They're
quite
huge.
A lot. They are big.
That's right.
Bigger than going from sort of 40 to 32 sort of thing.
That's right. It means a lot more at the top there.
So Yoshi there obviously benefited by the little tweaks that they've been doing, and given a little buff in some areas, no doubt. I can't say too much about him because I haven't really played Yoshi much.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's so much the changes that were made to Yoshi. I mean, he did lose his egg teleport glitch of sorts, but that wasn't really having any bearing on his standing. I think it's rather what's happened to the other characters, and Yoshi stayed the same, and that's given him a bit of a boost, I think.
Well, yes, most certainly. So then we move to the big 3, the big top 3, and in at number 3 we have Sheik.
Yes,
indeed.
see.
Now, Sheik was at 2 last time, I think.
Yes, indeed. She was at 2 last time, of course, but this time she's actually taken the number 3 spot. Now, in the first Japanese tier list, she was 1. In the second tier list, she was number 2, and now she's number 3. So she's actually slid down the list somewhat in progressive revisions of the list, but in any case, she has some devastating combos, very good priority on her moves, an excellent aerial game, not to be messed with at mid-range, I should say. At close range, she's not so good. I think she perhaps maybe evenly matched against Captain Falcon, my main, but in any case, Sheik is certainly not one to be trifled with, I should say. She's a very powerful contender in Smash Brothers and highly deserving of the number 3 spot there. Now, who's in number 2, old chap?
Well, just before we look at number 2, just looking at Sheik, I think if you're a thinker, you can see where even with the updates and taking those into account, if you've got a character that's still in the top 3 as Sheik is, you know this one's pretty sound.
Yes, always a good pick, Sheik, that's right.
Most certainly. Now, this brings us on to number 2, another character that fits into that bracket is, of course, old Rosalina. She's still there.
Rosalina. She's actually been knocked off the top spot since last time. I hate to have to tell you this, fellows, but she's no longer the Queen of Smash. No,
she isn't.
She's just the princess now at number 2.
She's the princess still at number 2, though.
But she's still an extremely good character. Her Luma respawn time may have been increased to 12 seconds, but that doesn't mean she's still a fighting force. Or rather, it doesn't mean she's not a fighting force. She's very, very good choice always, especially with the ability of her Luma to keep attacking even when she's down.
Exactly.
Quite tough to fight, just be careful of her relatively light weight.
Most certainly. So if you're a Rosalina fan and you use Rosalina, then you've got a pretty good character there.
A very good character. But what's this at the top? Hold on, stop the presses. But wait, there's something big here, old chap.
There most certainly is.
There's some big news right here.
There is. Now, if you thought you had to hold on to your seat for Greninja that we spoke about and what happened to him, you better hang on to your seat as well as strap yourself in and bolt the seat to the floor.
If you're wearing a hat, please strap it down.
Yes, for this news, because this character has literally come from absolutely nowhere, the back over there, Rocky style, straight into number 1.
Are we looking at the new Rocky here of Smash Brothers, old
Well, I
chap?
think we must be, because, shall I say it?
Does he wear a red hat of some sort?
I think he's got a red hat and a peanut gun and he's straight in at number 1. This is none other than...
Diddy Kong! Why?
What?
Why this? Why the new champ? Where did he come from, my old chap?
He literally came from absolutely nowhere. One minute he was out there flipping burgers, so to speak, and the next minute he was a champion of the world.
He's the the lightweight champion of the Smash Brothers world. I just don't understand this. Diddy Kong videos. My word, it seems there's been a real enlightening in the community recently with regard to the chimpanzee. Now, of course, he does have an extremely vicious aerial game. His lightning fast attacks would sometimes put even Fox to shame. champion. He has some excellent options in the form of his peanut gun, and his banana attack, of course, is still viable even though it was nerfed from Brawl.
Yes.
This is one character, according to the tier list, that you certainly don't want to be messing with, but just don't think you're going to pick him up straight away. He has a tricky recovery, and some of his combos are somewhat tough to learn, but it seems indeed if you can master this chap, you'll be controlling the new champion of Smash, at least for now.
Well, it would seem so. Now, to come from nowhere like this, we must assume that these updates that they have made have affected Diddy Kong in some way or the other, because they must have done.
Yes.
Because he's literally come from nowhere.
He was mid-30s, and now he is the new champion. There you have it, fellows.
It's absolutely amazing. And as you say, yes, his aerial attacks are very, very, they're something to be considered.
His combos are deadly. Yes.
They are, yes, indeed. So there we are. If you've got the icon, if you haven't used him before, no doubt you'll all be running out to have a go with him. But as we just said there, I would practice first before you go throwing yourself online.
Yes, no monkeying around, please.
No, indeed.
There you are then, Vales, the new Super Smash Bros. Tier list. That's it. There's our opinions. What are your thoughts? Who are the biggest risers and fallers? And more importantly, who belongs in which spot? Now, indeed, don't worry, fellows, if you do use a low-tier character according to this list, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't mean you can't win. In fact, I make use of a low-tier character all the time. His name's Gandalf, and I often win with him. So this tier list is just based upon results from the now. That doesn't mean this could change in the future. And of course, if you do particularly well with the character and start winning tournaments, you might just change the tier list for good.
Well, yes, indeed. That's a good point. Yes, most certainly. And so, of course, no doubt you'll all be very, very interested to see this, just as we are interested and enjoy letting you chaps and chap-hits know about it.
Oh, yes.
Very exciting things for these tier lists. And I'm sure we're going to see changes, particularly if they start playing with things with DLC or maybe more updates or whatever. But for the moment, the champion of the entire place is Diddy Kong.
Diddy Kong. I can't wait to see where Mewtwo's going to fit in now, chaps.
This should be very interesting, yes.
There you go then, Vales. This has been Game Chat and Bertie reporting the latest Super Smash Bros. Tier list to you. Thank you, guys, for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you once more the next exciting outing, my world. Until then.